Hi there, it's Jeff. Welcome to my channel. This video today is all about the Festool Kapex 120R. Great saw. I purchased this a couple of years ago. I've done a few projects with it, and I just thought I'd share with you the features of this saw, the good things about it, and some of the things to look out for, and maybe the things that are a little bit negative. But that's what this is all about. You guys are out there maybe thinking about investing in one of these saws because they are quite expensive, or you think about upgrading to one of these saws. You have another saw, another brand, and you want to come to the Kapex and you're thinking about it. This video is going to help you with that. I'm going to show you all the features, and there's some of the things that we'll go through that I wish that they could improve on. So let's get to it. All right, let's start off with some of the precision elements of this saw. So number one is the ability for this with bevel cuts. It'll go left and right. It'll do 45 both left and right, which is a great feature on this. Some of the other Mitre saws I have had will only do it on one direction, but this is pretty good. It'll do it both directions. There's a lever at the back of the saw that you flip up. It's got set configurations if you want to go from 0 to 45, or you just want 45. And also you can go, you can creep over to 47 degrees on this saw. But more importantly, the adjustment of going left and right is, to the millimeter. It's micro adjustable. So, and it's so easy to use. Not like other saws that I have had where you have to sort of have a lever around the back of the saw here, and you've got to sort of get the saw into position where you exactly the angle that you want, then try to tighten it. Other saws I've had tightened with an Allen key and things like that, where this handle set up on one of the rails, it's probably the best in the market. So that's one of the great features of this saw, is the bevel adjustment on it. It's really easy to use and micro adjustable. Okay, moving the saw left to right. So for 0, I'm going to do 45 degree cuts. It actually goes up to 60 degrees to the right, 50 degrees to the left. And they do have notches in them at set increments, which just click into place nice and easy. But if you did want that precise degree, you can just basically push this little button down, knock it where you want, and then lock it into position. It's a really good system, and it locks into place nice and easy. You can get micro adjustments in this field as well. The bed of or the surface of this saw is dead flat. You can put a level on there. It's square as well with your fence. All this here is just nice and accurate, and I guess that's the beauty of it. It also comes with a laser line on this saw, but not just one line. It has two, which is meant to replicate the outside lines of your blade. This is handy, although I don't rely on that. I just use it as a guide. But it is a feature on this saw with a button you can turn on and off if you don't want to use it. One of the really good things that I like about this saw is when you've got to change the blade. Other saws I've had in the past, it was just a nightmare to change a blade for some reason. I don't know why they design it in a way that it's so hard. This is very easy, and I really like it. You have a knob here that you just turn, and that locks the blade, and then you just use the provided Allen key, which is at the back, which just stores at the back of the saw, and you undo the blade, just lifting the guard rail out of the way, and changing the blade is Okay, so the saw also has adjustable speed. This can come in handy if you want to dial it down for different materials. I've cut aluminium with this saw, so I've had to change the speed a little bit, but nothing too fancy. But that does have that added feature of change, and it does have a chart on the side of the saw here. Gives you a bit of a guide on different materials and what sort of speeds to set it at. The other thing that's really good on this saw is the hold down clamp that comes with it. Or however, it is a little bit bulky, but it does work really well. You just, when you do put it in, you have to put it in back to front and just push it down on a material, lock it down, and it actually works well. But you do have to be careful if you are doing bevel cuts. I noticed with this, it can get in the way because, like I said, it is quite bulky, but it actually is, for a hold down clamp, it actually does work. It does hold your workpiece down. If you're doing just straight simple cuts, it's happy days with this thing. A great hidden feature of this saw is the micro adjustment when you want to do some trenching in some timbers. Now, in the past, on other saws that I've had, they've had Allen keys or like a little nut and bolt with a locking nut that you have to sort of adjust if you wanted to get to a certain depth. This thing has a little lever. You just push it down and you just turn it, giving you that really nice, precise micro. You can dial it into the millimeter to your depths of cuts with this adjustment. It's probably the best I've ever seen on the Mitre saws. A really good feature on this saw that I really love. Another bonus, which the previous models of this Kapex R20 did not have, are these wing extensions. There's just a little locking tab on the front here, nice and easy to use, and you can pull them out, and it just gives you that extra 4 inches or 100 mil, somewhere around that measurement of extra surface material to rest on. Also, the Kapex R120 has a built-in soft start, which means that when you go to turn on this to make your cut, it just doesn't kick on with all of its power and maybe even throw you off, or sometimes if you're holding something or there's less movement, it just starts off a little bit softer and then gradually builds up to your speed that it's supposed to be. So that is a really good added feature, the soft start setup on it. These also come with a built-in angle finder. It tucks away on the back of the saw nice and neatly. On the previous models, it used to slide in at the front here. I think it was on the left-hand side, but now they've incorporated that at the back of the saw. And if you haven't used one of these, they're really easy to use. And on one of my recent projects where I was doing a lot of dado rails, skirtings, mouldings around the place. And as you know, in your internal walls of your house, they're never at 90 degrees square. This solves that problem. You just actually put this up on your walls, set it to the angle that it is, copying your measurements of your walls. You bring it over to the saw, use your laser and line it up with the center line of this angle finder, and it cuts it nice and accurate, and you get your angles precise to suit your walls. Let's talk about the sliding rail system on this saw, because some of the other ones out there just have one rail. I know that some of the previous Mitre saws that I've owned only had the one rail, where this has the two. I have to say that it is very nice and smooth. There isn't much play in this thing, if any at all. And it glides really nice and smooth. The other thing with this saw, which is way different compared to some other makes out there, is the handle setup on this. To use it, you've got to have your hand in a sort of an awkward position, I found, whereas some of the others out there, have it your hand is in a vertical position, and it just feels nice and comfortable to maneuver the saw blade up and down. But this is, on the other hand, forces you to put your hand in a different position. It takes a little bit of getting used to. That's pretty much the best way to put it. But it is put like that on purpose. What it does is, by having it in this design, it's actually putting all the force down the center of the blade. So providing less movement when you are, or play, when you are making your cut. It's just less chance of movement. So there is a method to the madness in this. I know a lot of people out there probably, and they usually complain about that handle, and all I can say, it does take a little bit of getting used to that design of it, but it is there for a reason. And it's got a safety feature. Obviously, you've got the button on top, and you have to press that in before you can actually depress and the saw blade starts. But yeah, that may turn some people off, the way that handle is, but believe me, you just get used to it and you'll appreciate the accuracy of the cuts. For transport and storage, I usually turn it to the right hand side on the 60 degree, lock the saw down, especially on the glides as well, and it does pack away reasonably, nice and tidy. Weight wise on this thing, it's not too heavy. Obviously, compared to one of the bigger brands, where you got your big 12-inch saws and saw blades, this is, that's, by the way, this is another thing, this is only a 10-inch cutting capacity. It's got a 260mm blade, which Festool pretty much make 60mm, not 250, 260mm blade. I've only purchased one other blade for this saw, and it wasn't a Festool blade, it was a third-party blade for cutting aluminium, because I didn't want to pay the expensive prices of a Festool blade. The blade that actually does come with this is quite good. I've used it cutting a lot of moulding with it. It's nice and crisp and sharp still, and it is a good blade that comes with the saw. However, if you are seeking to buy other blades for the saw and you're wanting to purchase Festool ones, they are going to be expensive. So it will take 250mm blades. The arbor in the center is quite common as well. So it will take 250mm blades, but then you may lose a little bit of depth of cut. If that doesn't bother you, then yeah, you can save a bit of money that way without buying the Festool blades. Okay, the other added feature with this saw, and you've probably heard about it, is the ability to cut higher material using the features on the back here. What actually happens is you slide the saw out. It has a lever here with a catch. It's a matter of clicking it into that. You'll have the ability to cut around about 120mm. So that only works though if you've only got, say, some high moulding that you're putting up against the fence. It's not going to work if you've got really big stock. You're just not going to be able to do it on this thing. It's only going to work if you've got small, narrow material, or it's ideal for some crown moulding, they reckon. I haven't used it on crown moulding, but I have used it on some other bits and pieces. But you are still limited. You're not going to be able to use big stock doing that locking feature. However, it may get you out of trouble. Oh, all right, let's get into some of the little negatives of this saw that I've noticed, and you may have heard some of them on other reviews as well. One of the big negatives of this saw is the cost. Festool. It's very, very expensive for what it is, and compared to other miter saws out on the market, they're nowhere near the price of this thing. It's probably one of the most expensive miter saws out on the market. At the time of filming this video, I looked online. This thing is around about, in Australia, almost creeping up to the $2,500 mark. Now think about that. You could buy a fairly decent other brand miter saw and a bulk of other power tools with that money as well, if you're trying to set up. So I can understand a lot of people, especially setting up, and the novice and the DIYers, not wanting to spend that much on this saw, and rightly so. So the cost of this saw is a big factor, and most of the other reviewers out there are probably going to say the same thing. So what does that tell you, Festool? The other little negative on this saw that I've experienced is the dust collection. When I did look at some of the reviews on this saw when I was thinking about purchasing it, I saw a few reviews out there that were saying how great the dust collection on this saw is, and even from Festool. But that's not the experience that I've had with this saw. Let me tell you that when I do connect up this Mitre saw, I connect it to a Festool CT MIDI. So they are very, very powerful. I've even turned it up and it still makes a mess. It leaves a mess all around. This rubber boot also, although it's there meant to help, sometimes it does get in the way. I do try to leave it on. It actually does most of the time stay on, but sometimes it may get in the way, especially if you're using the sliding mechanism. But yeah, dust connection, the dust collection of this thing, I've found it leaves a mess. I don't know what else to do. I have experimented changing the diameter hose on my Festool MIDI to this. I've also tried keeping it short so it does have a great suction, but to no avail, it hasn't worked. I've even rung up and spoken to Festool reps here in Australia and followed their leads, but it hasn't worked. So that's just something that I put up with, and it is something little that you do have to put up with. Well, I'm putting up with the dust collection of this saw, but that's something to note. Yeah, the dust collection isn't as great as they say it is. Having said that, the great thing about using Festool gear is that it all connects together and interacts. So to connect your hose to this, especially if you do have the Festool, just pushes in and twists, which is great, but obviously if you were using some other vacuum, you could make it work, and these days with 3D printers you can make adapters, so that's not a big deal. But the good thing is, yeah, if you are running other Festool gear, it all works in with each other, I guess. Yeah. One thing to mention is the throat plate here. It's got quite a wide gap in the middle there, and obviously that's probably going to be designed for when this is in 45-degree bevels either side. It just needs that extra clearance so it's not going to cut through. But I guess you could make your own zero plate out of timber, or you could 3D print one, draw one. But the downside with that large gap there for the throating plate is that it does leave a lot of debris inside there, little bits and pieces, chips and fine bits of trim will end up in there. It's a little bit hard to sort of get out, because you can see even in mine I've still got some bits and pieces in there, but it's just a standard thing, I guess. It's made wide to suit your bevel cuts. Okay, so the two major questions with this saw: am I happy with it, and would I recommend this saw to someone else, or even if something happened to this saw and I have to go out and buy another saw, would I get another one? Well, yes, I am happy with this saw. I've done a fair bit of cutting with this saw on various projects, and I like the way it is precise. There is a lot of precision in the mechanism of this saw that stands out. And some people might say, oh, but it's the user, or but you would only notice this after using other various Mitre saws, and also industry experience. From my experience with this saw, like I said, I like the precision of this saw and the build quality. It does stand out, but obviously you are paying for that, overpaying for that, I should say, Festool, and that is one of the big downsides, yes, of course, that I have mentioned. So would I recommend this to someone that's buying a saw, or would I buy another one? Probably yes. Look, it's money. It is money well spent, and if you are after the accuracy, obviously, for DIYers, novice, you know, it may be an overkill. You know, you probably could get similar cuts and so on, you know, and work out of a cheaper miter saw. I can't vouch for the accuracy and the precision of using another saw compared to this. This to me is it is second to none. So having said that, yes, I would. One of the major drawbacks with this saw, obviously, as I keep mentioning, is the price, and that's probably what factors most people in buying one of these things is their budget. You know, I held off buying one of these things myself because of the price. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the saw, and I hope you enjoyed it, especially, and got something out of it, especially if you are looking to upgrade or buy one of these saws. So yeah, that just about wraps up this video then for today, and I hope you did get something out of it, especially if you are shopping around for another saw. Hopefully you liked it. If you did, press like, share with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you do keep up to date with the latest videos that I do share. And hopefully I will see you in another one of my videos. Thanks for watching.